In this video, I'll reveal the 8 worst fat loss mistakes most women continue to get tripped up by every day. The alarming truth is, if you don't address these issues, your chance of achieving lasting weight loss is slim to none. In fact, you might even gain weight in the long run. I'm going to show you exactly how to fix them for good. You'll learn the science-backed secrets to balancing hormones that manage cravings and metabolism. Plus, stick around till the end where I expose the #1 dietary myth wrecking your metabolism and how to reverse it. And if you can please like this video and subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. One of the most common stumbling blocks on the road to fat loss is failing to address addiction to highly rewarding foods. This is crucial because our brains are naturally programmed to crave foods loaded with sugar, fat, and salt, which complicates our weight loss journey. The bottom line is this: when we eat these foods, our brain constantly sends out hunger signals via hormones. It's like you never seem to feel full and are always craving something to eat. Foods like pizza, ice cream, or chips are some of the worst. And it's not just the amount of calories in these foods, it's the effect they have on the brain. These are what we refer to as highly rewarding foods. This is just a fancy name for foods that mess up your brain's hormonal signals related to hunger. These foods can take over our brain's reward system, causing us to eat more than necessary. It's very subtle and gets worse over time, which is precisely why most people don't recognize it. The process of craving foods is caused by a hormone known as dopamine, often referred to as the feel-good hormone. It's released when we engage in something enjoyable, like indulging in a scrumptious meal. When we eat these highly rewarding foods, our brains let out a wave of dopamine at levels that are unnaturally high, which causes addiction. When we eat foods like vegetables or lean proteins, this doesn't happen to the same extent. This dopamine surge feels amazing, but what most people don't realize is that it subtly creates cravings. Over time, this can result in overeating and weight gain. This is the single biggest issue when it comes to weight loss that most fitness and health experts completely miss. This addictive nature of these foods was demonstrated in a study on rats that were addicted to cocaine. When given a choice between saccharin-sweetened water, a calorie-free sweetener, and cocaine, a potent addictive substance, an astonishing 94% of rats picked the sweetened water. They also made the same decision for natural sugar, indicating that their craving for sweetness exceeded even the attraction of cocaine. Remember, these rats were already addicted to cocaine, so that's saying a lot. This explains why, without addressing the addictive nature of certain foods before trying to lose weight, it can be an uphill battle. We need to focus on nutrient-rich foods that don't spike dopamine before adding anything else into your weight loss routine. And here's something that really shocks people. Flour can affect your dopamine receptors just as much as sugar. Flour-based products like breads and pasta light up the pleasure center in the brain the same way sugar-filled products do. So, while replacing cake with a bowl of cereal might seem healthier, it can provoke the same addictive reaction in your brain and leave you feeling hungrier. In order to overcome this, it is important to steer clear of processed foods and concentrate on whole foods, such as fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. Evidence suggests that after 3 weeks, cravings subside and taste buds change, thus making it easier to stick to a healthy eating plan. So, shift your focus away from counting calories and focus on quality. The next big mistake when it comes to weight loss is falling into the trap of food variety. It's been proven that if people have a wider range of food options to choose from, they end up eating more. Think of the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet. A lot of people will keep going back for more, even when they have consumed more than enough calories, simply because they desire to try different flavors and textures. The brain can send signals that it's had enough of one type of food. Scientists tested this by a study on rats, where the rats consumed more when presented with a variety of appealing foods compared to when they were given just one tasty option of their regular feed. Over 7 weeks, the rats that had access to a variety of foods consumed more and gained more weight and fat than those fed only their regular feed, thus demonstrating how easy access to a range of palatable, high-calorie foods can ramp up food intake and contribute to obesity. So what does this mean for you and I? Well, we need to reduce variety in our meals, create simple meals with less options and less variety in tastes and textures. Additionally, clear out your pantry of processed foods loaded with sugar and unhealthy fats. Swap them out for whole foods like fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. These foods are not only packed with nutrients, but also keep you feeling full longer because of their fiber content, which leads me to the next mistake: ignoring the importance of satiety. This problem arises when we eat foods that fail to regulate hunger hormones. Typically, foods rich in sugar and refined carbs stimulate ghrelin, the hormone that makes us feel hungry, and fail to sufficiently stimulate leptin, the hormone that makes us feel full, known as the satiety hormone. Leptin is produced by your body's fat cells. The more fat you carry, the more leptin your body generates. This hormone talks with your brain, signaling that you're full and don't require extra food. But if leptin levels decrease, the brain perceives this as an indication that you're low on energy and prompts you to eat more. Think of it as your body's personal fuel indicator. As for ghrelin, the hunger hormone, it originates in the stomach and its function is to signal the brain when it's time for a meal. Ghrelin levels usually increase before meals and reduce for about 3 hours post-eating. So the key is to have these two hormones working optimally. This is done by concentrating on eating foods rich in protein, fiber, and water content. These take longer to digest, which helps keep ghrelin levels down for extended periods, while effectively triggering the release of leptin. This not only aids in controlling overall calorie intake, but also boosts feelings of fullness after meals. Essentially, grasping these hormonal mechanisms can be a key strategy in managing fat loss effectively. In a moment, I'm going to let you in on a fascinating discovery I recently came across in a study from Beijing, China. What the researchers found was that by changing the ratio of certain food groups in participants' diets, they saw a significant improvement in metabolic health, meaning they were able to burn fat more efficiently. I'll reveal more about these game-changing adjustments in just a moment. But first, let's get to the next mistake: not getting enough protein in your diet. Increasing your protein intake is key to weight loss because, firstly, it keeps you fuller for longer by impacting the hunger hormones we just talked about. Secondly, protein increases calorie burn due to its high thermic effect. Without adequate protein, your body burns fewer calories during digestion, which over time can lead to a slower metabolism. Thirdly, protein supports muscle mass maintenance. This is important as when you're losing weight, if your calorie intake is too low without enough protein, your body may start using muscle mass for energy instead of fat. And get this, muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue, so losing muscle mass can decrease your metabolism, making it harder to lose weight and easier to gain it back. This leads me to the next mistake people often make on a weight loss journey, is the wrong exercise. The relationship between exercise and fat loss is a complex one. A common misconception is that just by sweating it out at the gym, you can melt away those stubborn pounds. But the truth is, while exercise is undeniably important for overall health, it's not the magic bullet for fat loss. This was shown in a study from the Louisiana State University. The researchers assigned 464 inactive, overweight postmenopausal women into 4 groups. Each group were to make no dietary modifications, but were assigned to work out on an average of 0, 72, 136, or 194 minutes weekly, at an intensity of 50% of their peak VO2. The groups were to do this for 6 months, and the fascinating thing about this study was that the groups doing the exercise didn't lose any more weight than the group doing no exercise. This is because the body has a clever way of compensating for increased physical activity. This is known as the compensation effect. In simple terms, this means when you join in vigorous physical activity, your body instinctively seeks more fuel to compensate for the energy used. This can result in heightened hunger and overeating. Basically, you can't outrun a poor diet. Nutrition has a significantly larger impact on fat loss than just exercise alone. And here's another problem. Excessive exercising can cause cortisol levels in your body to skyrocket. As we already learned, cortisol is a stress hormone that can sabotage your fat loss efforts when its levels are too high. So although moving our body is important for health reasons, if you want to lose weight, the focus should be on nutrition. And this is why I want to share the final mistake people make that can sabotage their weight loss, and that is severe calorie restriction. When you dramatically slash your calorie intake, your body is not getting enough nutrition, and it reacts by decreasing its metabolic rate. This is a built-in survival strategy to save energy when food is scarce. While this is great for survival, it makes losing weight incredibly hard if using a low-calorie diet. The effect of this sort of diet was shown in a famous study called the Minnesota Starvation Experiment. In this study, the researchers took 36 men and progressively gave them lower amounts of food, until they were just receiving 1,500 calories a day. This was done over a 13-month period, and over time researchers noticed that the men became preoccupied with food to the extent that they couldn't focus on daily tasks. They started to become listless, withdraw socially, and showed signs of anxiety and depression. But the most alarming result of this experiment was that once the participants went back to their normal eating habits, they quickly gained back the weight they had lost with an extra 10%, and their poor mental health continued. Hardly a dieter's dream. So, what's the solution to this issue? We need to focus on whole foods that help regulate the hunger hormones and high-protein foods that help increase metabolism, increase muscle mass, and burn more calories. Focusing on health rather than weight loss will help balance hormones and enable the body to burn more fat. And the key thing here is to not limit protein. A study conducted in Beijing last year showed that people who ate a high-protein diet had better indicators of improved metabolic health than those who cut calories or followed a fasting protocol known as 5-2. Thus, highlighting, as we just discussed, protein helps keep muscle mass, makes you feel satisfied after eating, and helps keep your metabolic rate high. Although addressing these 6 fat loss mistakes can make a significant difference to weight loss, for women it's vital to learn how the hormone estrogen affects fat storage and burning, and how to use it to your advantage. To learn about this, click the video on the screen now.